Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. I appreciate all of you who takes the time to tune in now and in the future. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the divine person of Master Fard Muhammad. I further bear witness that he raised for us a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I could never thank these two enough for leaving behind for me and my generation a beautiful, strong black teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in these three great names, I greet you in the greeting words of peace. Salam alaikum. Family, thank you all for tuning in. Listen, as always, and of course, we have some great news upon us. How to Eat to Live, number one, How to Eat to Live, book number two. And in this, during this weekend, the next couple of days, the Nation of Islam has what is called a community or unity fast, where from the last meal of Thursday until Sunday night's meal, we abstain from food, only partaking in water and or coffee. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in How to Eat to Live, page number 41. He says that, and this is chapter 13, fasting, eating right foods, keys to long life. And he says, fasting is a greater cure of our ills, both mentally and physically, than all of the drugs of the earth combined into one bottle or into a billion bottles. Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, has taught me that fasting in the right kind of food are the cures to our ills. Wow. He has told me there is no cure in drugs and medicines. And this the world is now learning. We can take medicine all of our lives until it kills us, but we are still ailing with the same old diseases. And when we hear about fasting, especially nowadays, the science on fasting is immense. You have intermittent fasting, you have water fasts, you have fruit fasts, you have all of these different variations and combinations of fasting. But we want to take a look at it specifically according to how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And page 42, on the next page, he says, Allah taught me that one meal a day would keep us here a long time. We would live over 100 years. And eating one meal every 2 days would lengthen our lives just that much longer. He told me you would never be sick eating one meal every 3 days. The fact that fasting is the cure to 90% of our ills is known by the medical scientists, but they do not teach you that. So this is where I want to go into how and why fasting is the cure. Why, how fasting is our cure beyond the religious, spiritual aspects, but going into the science of how and why fasting is the cure. So when we're looking at this, and you take a look at our anatomy, our structure, and you take a look at our digestive tract, right? This is when you get into it, right? We have our mouth, our esophagus, right? We have our stomach, we have our pancreas, small intestines, large intestines, right? We have our liver and we have our gallbladder, all involved in this digestion process. That's a lot of organs. This is a lot of power devoted to activating all of these organs to ensure that digestion and removal happens. So when we are looking, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the kidneys, right? That's 7, 8 organs involved in the state of digestion. So when we are looking, that's a lot of power. So when you fast and you shut down your digestive system, these organs aren't activated. So what happens to that power? You don't lose it, because when you're not eating, That power is in the power source. This is our central nervous system, right? The brain and the spinal column. So all of the power comes from here. So when there is none of these organs are activated, when your digestive tract isn't activated, that there's no power traveling down your spinal column to activate those organs. So that power is here. This is why your thought increases. This is why your eyesight increases, your hearing increases, your smell increases, your touch increases the longer you abstain from food, because now that power is being allocated to other aspects of your body. And if you have an imbalance, if you need to improve a part of your body, we lose energy when we eat. Yes, from the food, you can obtain material and energy to replace, but the act of eating is stressful. The act of eating takes a lot of energy. This is why after you eat, you feel some type of way. You don't feel, you feel a little sluggish, you feel a little slower, right? Because your body is taking that energy and it's devoting it to all of these organs that are involved in eating. So you eat, especially the heavier you eat, the more you eat, the less you're able to move afterwards. You start to yawn. You need to take a break. You need to sit down. That doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. That's just what's happening. That power has traveled from your brain. That the frontal lobe is where the thoughts is at. So when you're not eating, all of your power is right here in the frontal lobe, where your thought process is at. When you eat, that power travels down, and now it's going into those organs that are a part of the digestive system, robbing you of power. So if you eat breakfast and you lose your power early in the morning, this is where the commute becomes stressful. This is where work and school becomes stressful and irritable and all and uncomfortable, because I've lost my mental power, because these organs are activated to digest what I eat. This is how a lot of us start the day. We eat and then we lose the mental power. We inhibit our mental capabilities because of the natural action of activating these organs, right? Just like when you haven't eaten and you could be starving, you could be hungry, your brain be kicking off all kind of thoughts and ideas. Listen, when you are in a state of hunger, right? When you haven't eaten anything, this frontal lobe becomes super activated because you haven't lost the power. So the longer you keep yourself away from activating your digestive system, the more power is here, the more high-powered, extensive, deep thoughts that you are able to produce and carry out. Because in that state of hunger, your body is going to be driven, versus once you eat, your body is now shut down to digest, if that makes sense. Now, look, let's look at it another way of why and how fasting is our cure. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, page 42. He says, the fact that fasting is the cure to 90% of our ills is known by the medical scientists, but they don't teach you that. Okay, let's go into that real quick. Excuse me for my enthusiasm and my excitement. So when we are looking, the basic common denominator of our human body is a cell, right? So we have to look at this at a cellular level, right? So we're going to look at this at a cellular level. If you open up the cell, you have your nucleus, right? And you have other organelles, right? You have your mitochondria, you have some lysosomes and things like that. You have food that's in here. It's the different organelles that make up the cell. Now, when he says that fasting is a cure for 90% of our ills. Everything that happens in our body happens here. It happens on a cellular level because that's what we are made out of. If something happens in you, it first has to happen in one cells, and then it has that domino effect from the cell to the tissue, from the tissue to the organ, from the organ to the system, from the system to a whole body effect. But it has to start here. So when he says 90%, right? Fasting cures. That's because 90% of what happens to us is going on right here at a cellular level. So when we go through the act of fasting, what happens is when we reach 15 to 19 hours of no food, right? When we hit that 15 to 19-hour mark of no food, we have something called autophagy, right? Autophagy. It's all praises due because this is the creator put together, regardless to what you call the creator of our bodies. So we learning how we are created so we can use it and maximize our potential. So the messenger says the fact that fasting is the cure for over 90% of our ills is known by the medical scientists. This is science. This world's word is autophagy. When they broke down and described all of this, these are their words to describe what we are. So they know this, but teach you that. Oh man, but we gonna learn today. So listen, after 15 to 19 hours. So yesterday, Thursday night, depending on when your last meal was, right? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to eat between the hours of 4 to 6 p.m. So let's go right there. If your last meal was at 6 p.m., that hour, right? That means 15 to 19 hours from that, your body will go and initiate autophagy. This is now when you don't eat, your body still needs nutrients and energy because your heart is beating, right? Your lungs are respirating, you're moving. So this requires energy and nutrients. So when you don't eat, your body goes into the catabolic stage of the metabolism. And this is breaking down. Because your body needs energy and it needs nutrients. So we are looking at a cellular level. This is at a cellular level, right? So the body will enter into a catabolic stage of the metabolism and it will start to break down. What does it break down? Since this is self-eat, it will first, because self-preservation is the first law of the cells. Self-preservation is ingrained as the first law of our cells. So every cell in your body is designed to preserve itself. That's what one of its functions is to do, and to keep you alive and strong so you can be the God that you are. So listen, when the cell will look inside, it will see damaged proteins, right? It will see food particles, right? It can bacteria and viruses can get in there. And what it does is it creates something called an autophagosome. It will look inside. It will see what elements are defective, polluted, toxic, don't belong. They are inhibiting the ability of the cell to make life. and it will create around them a two-layer enzyme. And we have inside of the cells, you have something called lysosomes. And these are like the stomach of the cell. The lysosome has a pH of 2 to 3. That's very acidic. This is like the stomach of the cell. So when something inside of the cell needs to be removed, the cell will create a two-layer enzyme around it, and it will transport it to the lysosome, so the lysosome can break it down into very, very microscopic, smaller parts, because it's already small inside of the cell. So it will break it down into even smaller particles that can easily be diffused out of the cell into the bloodstream, so your body can remove it. Listen, I hope this makes sense, and I'm saying it so it's understood. When we stop eating, when we enter that 15 to 19 hour period of not putting anything in us, our bodies enter into the catabolic stage of the metabolism. This means to break down, because your body still needs energy and nutrients to keep you healthy through your fasting. This is autophagy, means self-eat. So the cell, inside of the cell, it's going to find all of the things that don't belong, and it's going to capture them and literally transport them to the mouth, and your body can remove it. It can exhale it, it can sweat it, you can urinate or defecate it out. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, listen, man, family, when he tells us, he said, Allah taught me that one meal a day would keep us here for a long time. We would live over 100 years. And eating one meal every 2 days would lengthen our lives just that much longer. He told me you would never be sick eating one meal every 3 days. The fact that fasting is a cure to 90% of our ills is known by you eat one meal every 24 hours. You have a little window where your body can enter autophagy, but it doesn't have a long window to work in. So he says, when you eat one meal every 2 days, you increase or double your lifespan just that much, because now your body has more time to undergo autophagy. It has more time to create these autophagosomes and clean up the cell. He says, if you eat one meal every 3 days, you will never be sick on a cellular level, because now you will always put your body in a condition to clean itself up, to self-eat. So no matter what you eat, because he teaches us, excuse me, not no matter what you eat, I apologize. He teaches us that every meal we eat has poison in it, a certain amount of poison in it. So we eat no more than once in a 24-hour period to allow our bodies to get rid of the poison. So when you eat something, the material, some of the material is removed by the large intestines, going through the anus, you're defecating it. But you have some material that's being urinated. You have some material that's being exhaled. But you also have natural waste that's produced in the cell that has to be removed. So when we fast and we give our bodies a break, not just from eating, but fasting from all of the things that are harmful to me and to other people. Woo! I give my body the time and opportunity to clean itself up. So now When I go to eat again, I'm putting this new material in a awesome clean body. It's ready to digest and disperse and remove. Woo! Without holding on to, without collecting. He teaches us. Page 41. Listen. He says, fasting is a greater cure of our ills, both mentally and physically, than all of the drugs of the earth combined into one bottle or into a billion bottles. Allah, in the person of Mustafa Muhammad, has taught me that fasting and the right kind of food are the cures to our ills. Okay, let's go right there because that's the next important part. Now that you've fasted, now that you've cleaned yourself up, what are you going to put back in you? So once we go and allow the body to naturally clean itself, this is a clean, the cell is clean. So that it's cleaned all of those bad materials out. Now the only thing that's left is the organelles that make up the cell. Woo, right? So now when you go to eat, the food that you eat, if we eat the right food and we introduce the right food to the cell, woo, now we are looking at growth and development. See, fasting is the cure. Once you've cured yourself, now you got to make yourself healthier and stronger. So now that we learned how to clean myself up, now that I've learned how not to pollute myself, because that's what another part of fasting, the mental aspect. I'm learning how not to damage myself. I'm learning how not to overeat. I'm learning how to give my digestive system a break. I'm learning how to give my nervous system a break. I'm learning how to control my appetite and myself. So that's the cure, because all of those things led me to eating wrong, led me to damaging myself, led me to killing myself, leads to the pre-existing conditions, the comorbidity, and the premature death. So all praises due to Allah. Listen, man, I'm saying, excuse me of my excitement and enthusiasm. I apply these, and in applying these, I feel the effects. So my cells become cleaner. And now by me making the right choices of food. Okay, let me give you an example. Page 170. Woo! How to eat to live. Eat that food that Allah has prescribed for us. Even take little simple things such as beans. Allah says that that little navy bean will make you live. Just eat them. He said to me that even milk and bread will make us live. Just eat bread and milk. It is the best food. He said that a diet of navy beans would give us a lifespan of 140 years. Yet we cannot live one half that length of time eating everything that the Christian table has set for us to eat. So he's giving us an example. Listen, once you've cleaned yourself up, this is the cure. Fasting is the cure. With the right foods, now I not just cure myself, woo, but now I'm empowering and imbuing myself with life. I'm building, right? The preventative and the building measures. So when we are looking at this fast, for those of us that started yesterday, right now, this particular hour going up and now into the later hours, our bodies are entering into the catabolic state. We are ready to enter into the autophagy, where the body will now start to cleanse itself up. So you might feel some type of way. You might feel some rumbling and some tumbling going on inside of you, but this is your body breaking down. You aren't starving because it doesn't just break down this material, it uses the material. This is just the first stage of metabolism. The second stage is the anabolic stage, where it uses that material for energy and building blocks. So when we are looking right now, our bodies could be experiencing the that breakdown. It's going through some cleansing. And depending on what we've done to ourselves, determines those signals that we are going to feel. It's going to determine how much work the body has to do. That doesn't mean you are going through or something is wrong. This is the natural process. This is the cure, because the cure or healing is not the that's not the peaceful, that's not the happiness part. It's after you are healed, after you are cured, that you now have the peace and happiness and the balance. But during the process, this is a fight, this is a construction. Right? So going through construction, this is demolition. So going through that, it might be uncomfortable, but hold on. Know of a surety that the system and the laws that Allah or the creator, however you identify, has set in place. It is designed for you and I to naturally, to internally, without any external stimulations or help, but the God within. Woo! This is our opportunity to exercise and to perfect that God within. Fasting is our cure. Man. So, family, listen. I take the opportunity. I just wanted to come with this brief message of inspiration, motivation. As we are going through it, it might feel painful, it might feel uncomfortable, it might burn, it might all of these things. But this is the body going through it. So what do? You can, it's several things. We gain control of my mind. I gain control of my brain, because everything from here is controlled from here. That signal has to go down. Its signals come up, but when that signal is coming from the body and traveling up, I control that. I interpret that. I say what it is. And I send the signal back down. And that gives me control of the body. We have the vagus nerve. Before we leave, if you get that rumble in your tumble, in the digestive system. Listen, we have, when that digestive system is sitting there, right? And it's innervated, it's activated, and we getting all of those signals coming from it. We have in our brainstem, we have what is called the vagus nerves that extend off of the brainstem, and they go to the heart and they go to the digestive system, and they allow you to calm those organs down. Listen, when those organs are activated and they sending all of these signals and your heart is racing and you don't know what to do, we have a built-in control, the vagus nerve, the 10th cranial nerve that goes from the brainstem to your heart and your digestive system. And when you take a deep nasal inhale and a nasal exhale, this innervates the vagus nerve, which in turn sends that signal down so to quiet and control your heart and your digestive system. So when you feel in that type of way, take a moment, become present, look around, right? Breathe. You want a 4 or 5 second inhale. You want a 4 or 5 second exhale through your nose using your diaphragm. Relax. Let your muscles relax. Let your nervous system relax. Look at the colors that you are surrounded by. Pay attention to the sounds that you are hearing. Aromatherapy, right? These are because once we remove one of our senses, the other four, they compensate and they become more powerful. So we just got to learn to use that power to overcome what we might feel while training ourselves to be successful at fasting. Man. So, family, listen, these are the real life insurance policies. How to Eat to Live book number 1, How to Eat to Live book number 2. They are available www.noi.org, www.finalcall.com. Listen, let us all be found how to eat to live, and let us be eating to live like our life depends on it, because it does. I leave you in the greeting words of peace. Salam alaikum. Peace.